Hey folks, so today some words on sticking to it, sticking to practice, coming up. Hey folks, I'm Doug Smith. I'm study director at the Secular Buddhist Association. That's secularbuddhism.org. And if you're interested in helping to promote a wiser and a kinder and a less stress-filled world, consider subscribing to the channel. We'll have talks like this out once or twice a week, and we'll be discussing issues about secular Buddhism, secularism, early Buddhism, and related topics. So it occurs to me, sort of looking around, watching some other channels, watching myself, that I don't want to leave the impression, which may come across sometimes, that practice involves watching YouTube videos, or that kind of once or twice a week kind of engagement is really sufficient to do what we want to try to do here. Our advances aren't made in a day, they aren't made in a week, they aren't made in videos, they aren't made in watching things. And I say that because I think there's a certain kind of a story, I would call it a fiction, of immediate awakening. And we get that in some texts, and it seems to be kind of a meme, I would say, in Zen. This notion that you hit somebody with a keisaku, with a stick in Zen, and they become enlightened. This kind of notion of immediate awakening also occurs in the early texts, in early Buddhism. There are a few suttas where the Buddha talks to a particular person, gives them one line of teaching, and it seems they become awakened because of that. Now, in all of those circumstances, it seems, at least in the early texts, that we should believe that the person at issue, the monk at issue, is somebody who's been studying for many, 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 many years, maybe decades. So it's not the kind of thing that just happens out of the blue. And more is the point, the general picture, the general story that the Buddha tells is of what's called the gradual path. A path of training that takes a very long time, potentially, many, many years for sure, that goes, in a progression of incremental steps. And, we don't necessarily have to take the steps literally, or that we should expect they always occur in the same order. The Eightfold Path itself is in many ways a kind of circular path where we start at one place, we start at right view, but then we come back to right view and have a different opinion about it, a different take on it, a different understanding of it. And this takes time. This takes a lot of time. And it may very well be, I myself believe it to be, that for lay people the path is going to be longer and harder. The Buddha himself said that the reason he wasn't a lay person was that the lay path was a dustier path. Because frankly, we're surrounded as lay people with distractions. Now, of course, everybody's surrounded by distractions, including monks, but lay people have jobs, lay people have family lives, lay people have possessions, ownership, they have to worry about money, and these are all things that can take them out of the practice to an extent. So, but the most important thing is, what does that mean? What it means is that we have to have a certain amount of dedication and devotion to doing a certain kind of practice regularly. I would suggest for sure to try to meditate every day. And the amount of meditation does matter. You will often see people say that 5 minutes of meditation a day is fine, it's better than nothing. That certainly is true. But I think we'll find, I know I have found myself, that 20 minutes a day makes a bigger difference than 5. Half an hour is significantly better than 20. 45 minutes a day is better than half an hour. And I've read eminent meditation teachers saying that, if you do under 2 hours a day, you sort of aren't really going very fast. This is to say that we have to be realistic about the amount of time we're putting into this and the amount we're going to get out of what we put in. But the other side of meditation, of course, that we really should not forget is that daily life itself can be seen as a kind of meditation. Thich Nhat Hanh famously said that washing the dishes was a kind of meditation. It could be a kind of mindfulness meditation depending on how we did it. Of course, he doesn't mean to say that washing the dishes are something special. What he means to say is anything that you do can be a form of meditation. This is an approach that's very, very deep in the Zen tradition. Whether you're carrying water, whether you're chopping wood, we might say today, whether you're driving your car, whether you're on the subway, all of it can be a form of meditation, depending on how we hold it, depending on how we come to it. And if we come to it with a spirit of open inquiry, with a spirit of non-judgment, but also with an awareness of skillful and unskillful in the background, so that with our open judgment, we can be aware of how we are presenting ourselves and how we are behaving in the world, so that when we end up doing things that are unskillful, we can come back to them and see them in that way. And also, Sangha is very, very important. It's important to have or find, and if we can, a group of Kalyana Mitta or spiritual friends who are around us, who help us, who we can bounce ideas off of. And this can be, I admit, difficult sometimes from within a secular approach or just within any approach. I mean, it does take time to find a group of people that we are happy with. And every group of, every Sangha, every group of practitioners has its personalities. For myself, I find that the insight tradition is most to my liking. The contemporary insight tradition, which is very closely allied to elements of mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR, tend to be more open about the background that you have and the beliefs that you bring to the practice. It's more about this life practice. That said, that might change. There's also, we have a practice circle at the Secular Buddhist Association, secularbuddhism.org, that happens once a week or so. It's an online practice. And I think online practices can be another option for people who don't have access to a local Sangha. Although in my opinion, having a local Sangha is best if we do have one, because there's something about in-person experience that I think always will be deeper than experience we have over a television set or a computer or monitor, whatever. So daily meditation is key. Looking at life as a kind of meditation, as practice, is key if we can do that. And having a local Sangha is very, very important as well. Also, and I think it was the Dalai Lama who said this, we should look at our advances in practice at a scale of months and years, not at a scale of days and weeks. I think sometimes we're prone to take the latter kind of view. We tend to think, here I am, I was supposed to practice this week, and look what happened. Or, here I am, I've been practicing for 6 months or a year, and I'm still getting angry at people. That's to be expected. And what I've found, and I think people that I know who have found who do practice, is that they do see differences in their own mental state and their own behavior, both in how they speak and in how they act, but that these differences come in a scale of years. They come in a scale of many months. They don't come they don't come week by week. Week by week, we're the same person. And to that end, it's really crucial to at least strive to be kind to yourself for your own shortfalls, for the ways in which you don't live up to your own best expectations. What's important to know is that the reason we have these high expectations of ourselves is because we want to live happy lives. And because we know in our hearts that the unskillful behaviors that we engage in are harmful to ourselves as well as to others. And so the problem is we keep harming ourselves with our own unskillful behaviors and then compounding that by beating up on ourselves for those unskillful behaviors. So it is a kind of problem. And one of the ways out of that kind of cycle is to try to find a way to be kind to ourselves when we trip up. And I think if we can find our way towards this kind of kindness to ourselves and ally that to a wise approach to practice, I think we'll find that stress levels do, on the whole, decrease. That we are more open to the world, we're more open to experience, because we come at it, I think, from a more grounded place. So I hope that discussion has been helpful to you and that you're not trying to get all of your practice out of YouTube videos from either me or anybody else for that matter. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad to see you here. And thanks all of you for the wonderful comments and questions. They're really inspirational to me and very helpful. And if you have other comments about this, about your own daily practice or differences you've seen over the time that you've been practicing, or how long it takes you to find these differences, I'd be interested to hear it. It'd be interesting to me to know, and probably to other people as well. So just put them down below in the comments section. And meanwhile, keep up your practice, happy practice, and we'll catch you on the next video. Bye-bye.